Karmari, Monisha, Vaishnavi, Janaranjani, Vishwapriya, Sharmika, Sumitra, Manjula, Devanayaki and Kausalya. Hearty welcome to you, sir, Mr. Manikannan from. Thank you. Sir.
Education remains at the heart of everything we do. Through our STEM Labs initiative, we are setting up a modern learning space in government schools, equipping children, especially young girls, to dream bigger, think scientifically, and confidently choose STEM subjects in higher education. 888 students have been trained till date. We have also introduced AI awareness and digital literacy programs for students in colleges and government institutions, helping them adapt to the future of work, use technology smartly and responsibly. More than 600 students have been trained here. And today we are proud to present two new projects, which I'm going to have our project heads speak about it. Across all these efforts, whether it is skill building, entrepreneurship, or education, our vision remains constant: to create purpose-led measurable impact that translates into real change in the lives of women and their families. Today's conversation will resonate beautifully with this spirit. Ma'am, your journey as an educator, poet, and a parliamentarian mirrors the belief we hold dear. The empowerment is not about opportunity, it's about inspiration. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us and lending us your voice for a cause. To all our members and partners, thank you for being here and a part of and share our vision. Together, we continue to make FLO Chennai not just an organization for the upliftment of members, but a movement that builds, nurtures, and transforms the society at large.
I think first we should start with a round of applause to ma'am. Ma'am, my first question to you today is, a whole bunch of us here present ourselves wherever we go, but you are the voice of millions. What does that responsibility feel like?
Thank you all very much for this wonderful opportunity. I would like to apologize for being late for 20 minutes. I'm so sorry for that. I was supposed to be here by 3 p.m. but it's a cross-country race, but that's not an excuse from Neelang right from here. So I'm just placing it on record, my heartfelt apologies for being late. Thank you very much for sharing a lovely, wonderful poem by Ma Angelou, a poem which is an inspiration to all of us here, any woman. When you ask me about me being a representation to millions of women, especially my constituency, it's a huge responsibility, which gives me sleepless nights. Nights filled with guilt of not sometimes keeping my promises to the extent which I envisioned. And sometimes, like the anxiety of tomorrow's long stretching roads which has its own bumps. So it is a road which is filled with hopes, fears, anxiety, but responsibility and accountability are the key words, I would say. You are accountable to those who elected you, and you are responsible for all the words and actions you utter and then you do. So you have that always back on your shoulder, and whatever you do, you utter a word or you take a small step, you always think that, well, here I am representing so many people, so I need to be really, really careful in what I do. At the same time, taking stock of, have I really met my promises? Do I live up to the expectations? And sometimes I'll also, as Maya Angelou says, I'm a woman with all the vulnerabilities and weaknesses. I may falter. I'm not up to 90. Probably first year I will be 40% and then 60, and then the next third year I may reach 80. So I know all those things. At the same time, trying to, grow up and then remember these two words, responsibility and accountability.
So we were speaking about, being a representative. I see that in leadership in public sector today, there is a gap where the representation of women is much less than what it could be. Do you see any gaps there, ma'am? And how do you think we have to address it? Because interestingly, when I was studying about, our voters, women voters are much larger than male voters today, but women representatives in public sector are smaller in number. So what are the gaps you see? How do you think women can step up?
I would like to view this question in two perspectives. Women willingly coming forward to enter into this arena of public life, as well as keenly observing what's happening outside, not just sitting inside the nest of their homes alone. That's one perspective. And another perspective is the platform which is given to women. So even now, it's a hard journey. We have miles to go. We have glass ceilings to be broken, but we have come a long way, I would say. Especially this land, Tamil Nadu, being a land of the most progressive movements, self-respect movement, rational movements, which advocated the rights for women and the education for women, we have come a long way. So whenever, parties with such progressive views and vision come to power, the first thing that they would like to implement is the empowerment of women, especially the participation of women. So I think it's gradually increased, especially, that's why I've got the statistics with you. We have this corporation councillors, you must all be familiar, for the first time in Chennai corporation history, for the past 5 years, as soon as DMK comes to power, for the first time, we have 101 women councillors. That's about 50%. And then you have 2 women as heads of standing committees in Chennai Corporation, and 1 zonal chairman, woman chairman in Chennai Corporation. Chennai Corporation has had a history of 200 years, and we have had 2 mayors. 1957, first mayor, woman mayor was Sarah Cherian, but she was a mayor for only 1 year. And then we have got Kamakshi Jayaraman, another woman MP who had completed just only 1 year, 71 to 72. And this is the first time Chennai has a woman mayor who is going to complete a full term. 200 years of corporation history. And it was Dr. Kalaina who was given 30% reservation for women in job opportunities, and now it's been uplifted to 40%. And in local administration, the reservation for women is 50%. That's why we have achieved this many number of women participation. But still, it's a long way to go. Women reservation bill is still pending in the parliament. So it is not an easy journey, it's an uphill task. For that, the change and the initiative should be a joint effort by the people who sit on the chair with the decision makers as well as us, the women, we women. We need to be socially conscious and we need to be very, very careful and choosy about who we are making to sit on the decision making seats and how are we also going to participate in those decision making places by partaking yourself in public space. So these two are the very important things, I would say.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much and wonderful statistics. It's good to know that there's so much happening. My next question to you, in the lighter way, and I want to ask, what do you think men in governance should learn from women in governance?
So many, I would say, a million things. A million things, I would say. See, I always say that proudly that we have a lot of balancing power. See, as I said, we're all vulnerable. We do have our own rough tides, ebbs and flow, but still women manage extremely efficient when it comes to their job. When they enter the portals of their office or factory or colleges or whatever it is, they immediately acclimatize themselves to that particular atmosphere. So, say, for example, right from the morning, right from making coffee, switching off the lights, take the screen off and enjoy the sunlight, just having patience with the kids' school homework, right from that, they have to learn a million things. Patience, understanding, empathy, and then inclusivity, and to sit and then listen to nondescript and nonchalant things. When I've observed, not all the men, but as far as I have observed, most of the men, they talk about career, stock exchange, or whatever it is, they might unwind in the company of some, like closer friends. But generally speaking, but we women, we might, or some of us are very happy in just discussing, about just nonchalant, nondescript things, some rain or whatever it is that I didn't have sleep yesterday. From that onwards, opening up also. So if you want to be an empathetic person, you have to be very, very open-minded and keep your eyes, ears, everything, all your senses open to what does the universe offers you. And only women excel in that, I would say. Womanly instincts. I'm not sure whether any man can obtain that because it's an instinct. But that's the first thing I would say.
Wonderful, ma'am. I think it's quite true. I would completely agree with that.
Absolutely.
And I think we have a range of things we are capable of talking about. I think capability is something I learned from you today. Ma'am, my next question to you is, just a little bit from your previous answer. There are many people here in the gathering today who would like to explore politics in a certain sense, like to understand politics, want to be a part of politics. How and where do you think we should start?
You should start from your street itself. Just reaching out to your neighbor. Just be a responsible citizen within your street. I've written a Tamil poem. I hope that some of you can understand it. யாரும் பார்க்கவில்லை என்று சுற்றும் முற்றும் பார்த்துவிட்டு அடுத்த வீட்டில் கொண்டு போய் குப்பையை கொட்டும் பொழுதே அரசியல் ஆரம்பித்து விடுகின்றது. All of us, sometimes we do that. Being a very responsible citizen within your street and reaching out to your neighbor when they are in need. All of us were all lovey-dovey persons during COVID. Everything was, full of love. You open up your drawing room and some stranger would be sitting there charging their mobile phones from the 4th Street and those were the scenes we all witnessed. And then you can see, lot of camaraderie on the terraces when we were walking and everything. The world looked so beautiful, filled with love. And after a year, everything again back to square one. So basically, the women, whoever it is, women or women, if they want to enter into public life or public spaces, it should begin, like from your neighbor, from your street, from that locale, and then, like to the council, it should like that. See, for example, this FICCI Flow itself, taking small steps to reach out to people. And your chairperson, I just saw it in Insta, your previous chairperson has shared this crashes which you have installed in 17 parks, industrial parks from Tuticorin to all the other villages, education-based ones. And some I have also noted it down, I believe. How many children are getting benefited from that? It is 3,23,000 women are getting benefited through the FICCI Flows initiative. 6 months to 5-year kids are being given services. So this is a wonderful little step which through FICCI Flow most of you are taking. So this is how you just make your steps. And then you go to the, I wouldn't use the word higher places, probably the decision-making places are more suitable words. When you exercise your oath itself, you have the right to sit on that place one day or the other. Everyone here can sit on that chair, whether it's a prime minister or a president or a chief minister, that doesn't matter. All of you all capable enough to go and reach that chair if you have that intention, sincerity, and the willingness to work towards it with real service to the humanity. So with that intention, if you just take small steps to reach out to your neighbor, or like to point out certain things which is not for your, working out for your conscience, voicing it in a louder way, these are the immediate steps I would say.
Wonderful, ma'am. Taking from, the word sitting on that chair, you are sitting on the chair today representing a lot of us here. South Chennai constituency is a very, very diverse constituency. And, I really want to know how you represent people from the low-income communities to the, working, the middle, the upper middle, and the elite in the society. Ma'am, how do you cover this entire spectrum and holistically? I want to talk to you about that, and I also want to know what kind of work, what kind of plans you have for this spectrum, this entire spectrum. If you can elaborate a little bit on that, it will be great.
Of course, absolutely, with pleasure. As you said, the chair is not a very comfortable chair. Not this one. The other one always, yes. Those chairs are always rickety. You should sit on the chair with the realization that it's not a permanent one. It's like a musical chair. So that itself makes you a little wise. That itself will open up your eyes to look into the problems of those who have elected into. So my first priority is reachable to them. Whether you solve their problems or not, that is a different question. You have to be approachable, reachable. That is the first thing. So when they have the faith in you, or when they know that, well, here is my elected representative, I can just walk into her office, or I can reach over the mail, or whatever it is, the social media, that itself breaks the barrier. So that is my first thumb rule. And I have a proper office wherein I have my own helpers, assistants, the research associates who meet people every day, receive their petitions, and we segregate. That's a professional way of working. But as you said, it's a huge constituency, 6 MLA constituency packed into one as an MP constituency. So it's humanly impossible to travel, and cover all the places within a month or whatever it is. But what are all the areas which are constantly affected with certain problems, certain things, stumbling blocks out there. So as and when you just travel, you know all those places, all those pockets. So you can concentrate more on that. Apart from spending my MP lakhs, we are allotted 5 crores a year to spend for the constituencies. I undertook projects, and I am undertaking also projects combining with the NGOs, like-minded people like you, to reach out to women, children. Especially my focus areas are their health, education, women empowerment. These are the 3 key areas I concentrate. So the last term I have taken up 3 projects. One I named as Thamizhachi. Valimai doesn't mean only physical prowess. Your mental prowess, equipping yourself mentally. So this is in collaboration with the Rotary Club, Rotary Spotlight, and then ELTA, English Language Teachers Association, with Etherage College. So we have conducted camps for anemia, locating people who are prone to that and then giving them the tablets. As well as through ELTA, we have conducted spoken English classes. So empowering women in both the aspects. That's just one project. Another one is distribution of menstrual cups to the underprivileged women. I've got a long coastal beach line right from Nochikupam till Vetuangeri, South Chennai. So I've got a lot of my fisherwomen sisters who face a very, very hard life, traveling with baskets, selling fish, and then like sitting on the streets or whatever it is. So I thought, why don't they have this luxury of using menstrual cups? So I collaborated with, again, a private agency, and in collaboration with all the women councillors of South Chennai constituencies, 1,500 beneficiaries were spotted. We have given coaching classes for them to use, and that was dispersed. And the third project was, as I said, we concentrate on the education, health and hygiene, installation of meta bins in schools. 7 schools were identified in my constituency. 4 schools we have fixed up meta bins. That's the recycling of your waste in a very, very useful way. Teach them, like if you recycle a bottle, like you will be given this much incentive, something like that. So these were the 3 important projects. Another one is I have adopted a village. I have 7 panchayats in my constituency. So Sitalapakam is one such panchayat. I have adopted it under Prime Minister's SAGI scheme. And I have actually worked with Sanitation First India and provided them toilet facilities and the restoration of ponds. All those things we have done in that. In this term, we have started 2 important projects. Yesterday, in fact, was a very, very project which is close to my heart, giving the Anganwadi children and the teachers. We call it as Mudal Elithu. Yesterday, it was just started in 3 schools of my constituency, along with the Association of the Private Nursery School owners and teachers. See, most of the people think that the creche or Anganwadi is just a place to leave their children to eat and then sleep. But that's where the learning begins. So how to provide an ethos or an atmosphere which makes a child to learn things faster and in a meaningful way. So to orient the teachers as well as for the children. That was just begin with the Tamil Nadu government's ICTS. Along with that, my MP office. And the other one is STEM education, science, technology, engineering, to orient government school children in that. We are collaborating with EduFirst in USA. We have begun in 6 of the schools, those coaching classes. So, in a broader picture, spending your money for the public, that's one side. And the other side is just listening to their needs and then identifying the pocket areas and then reaching out to them with the collaborations with other NGOs. This is how any members of the Legislative Assembly or Parliament will work, I believe. The key role is to make policy decisions And execution probably is little difficult because we are not executioners. But we can do all these things with the help of people like you.
It's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you. I think that deserves a huge round of applause. So we spoke about representing, a community of people. That also comes under the spectrum. One of the most, I feel, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, to liaison between the center and the state. You become that person in between. It's a very tough job, ma'am. I think it needs great will. Can you talk about it? How do you ensure that your constituents are heard there in the center? Are heard? Yes, there in the center.
Yeah. Yes, of course, we are all citizens of India. So every citizen of India has the right to be heard. And Parliament is the highest temple of democracy, wherein everybody's voice should be heard. So even though, we are given limited time, even though we get sometimes boo-boos, we won't stop. Especially women, we won't stop. We will shout in a higher voice than the boo-booing and very sharp, in raising questions. There are so many avenues in the parliament, interventions, through which you can actually raise your voice. Question hour is there, and then there are 0 hour, and then there is rule 377, wherein they are supposed to give reply. So there is all these limitations, and there is this greatest disadvantage of being in the opposition power, but still we have a thumping majority, 40 out of 40, we are all sitting there. So our voice, it should be heard, even though it's not taken into account. We will make, and we have made, our protests and our voices very clearly heard in the parliament, in all the crucial bills, in all the crucial issues, and that's the very important job of any opposition party, I would say. So in the hope that someday or the other, we believe in the press, we believe in the institutions. So the press, they have to give enough coverage to what the opposition talks and what the opposition, why do they protest and why do they stage a walkout, all these parliamentary proceedings. We do it in the hope that people are watching. People are watching. You can't just take them for granted. They might, snore, sleep, or sometime in the afternoon, but not always. So they are watching you. How many times my representative had spoken in the parliament? And what is the percentage of attendance? All these, it's all now it's all open in the parliamentary website. You can take and then you can check out about your representative. What are the issues that she has represented? The local issues and the national issues, the pan-India issues and the party's issues. So all these, it is your responsibility to take into account, and then, that gives, a sense of control also. You can, because you have elected him or her, and you have the right to know how many days have they been there and what are all the voices that he or she raised on your behalf.
Wonderful. Thank you for an insight into what the parliament feels like. Ma'am, you seem very approachable, I must say. How do you make that happen? You spoke about it a little earlier as well, approachability. I feel like it's so special to women also in a certain sense. We are much more approachable. But how do you make it happen? Because, it's so easy. I'm not able to explain it in words, but it's so easy. And you're a member of parliament. I wouldn't dream of it, but I'm able to do that. How is it possible? How do you make it possible now?
See, we all come from grassroots. When I saw those kids, from the government school coming here, I just saw a mini version of Thamizhachi in them. Wow. I was one among those girls. Imagine a girl coming from one little small remote corner from southern Tamil Nadu, My village name is Mallankinadu. Some of you here won't be able to pronounce it, I believe. I began my school education in a government school, first and third standard. Those days we used to have double promotion, so first to third, third to fifth.
Wow.
But that's how I began my life, with double plates, sitting on a mud floor. And through the steps of education, I have come to this stage. So I will never ever forget my roots and all my writings also. என்னுடைய கிராமத்தினுடைய புழுதி படர்ந்த கிளைச்சாலையிலே இருந்துதான் என்னுடைய இலக்கியம் கிளைத்து எழுகின்றது. From the dust and sweat of my village, be it my literature, be it my work, from there only it originates. So I have to be, like one among them, be with them, and then easily, approachable person. That's the first thing. Anybody who works in a public space, that's the first qualification, I would say. Probably not in person. You can these days, like I am approachable in Insta. Anybody can message me in Insta message or FB or Twitter or mail me. So there are so many avenues open to us, which makes things easier. So nobody can say an excuse that I'm too busy. No. You can always have a minute to check your mail, to check your message. Not in the person, maybe it's not possible, but there are other forums. So you shouldn't forget your roots. That's the key point here.
Wow, amazing. Ma'am, transformation through education. You just spoke about it yourself in your life, that is the case. What would you like to tell all of us here about how we can transform ourselves even today through education? We've all crossed school, colleges, and we're working, but how important is education? There were students here today. How can we make ourselves, educate ourselves to be more aware of our surroundings? And how can we use education as a tool to transform ourselves?
I think that's the one and only tool. It's a foolproof tool. Nobody can steal that from you. And that's the most prized possession you can carry without the fear of being stolen by thieves. திருவள்ளுவர் சொன்னது, யாராலும் களவாடப்பட முடியாத செல்வம் கல்வி என்பது. And especially Tamil Nadu, I would say, education is a part of a social justice movement. Education is the right for each and every child, irrespective of the class, creed from which he or she comes from. So it's part of the social justice movement that every child has the right to have the education, not only the basic one, to all the other courses also. That is why, we are for reservations. Those portals which were dreams once for the underprivileged sections were made possible, and those dreams can be achieved by such openings. So, you have to combine education with social justice. That is where the change depends on. Not only the privileged section, not only the privileged classes can have the luxury of getting higher education or doing a master's there and abroad. It should be available to all the people. Every leader's dream is that only, should be that dream only. So with education, as I said, especially women, girl child, it's a very powerful weapon, I would say. So we can be without family, we can live without men, sometimes happily. We can, manage even without, anything else, or accessories or jewelry, anything else. But imagine us without this educational empowerment. Where would have we been, or where will we be without this power of education? That gives you the sixth sense to think, I think, therefore I am.
Yes.
That's what Descartes said. I think, therefore I am. And there's always a difference between seeing and looking. So So education teaches you the nuances of whether you see or whether you look into it. So that is that is the one and only foolproof weapon, I would say, which gives you economical independence, which gives you to opportunity to shape up your personality, which takes you to all over the world, to all the higher platforms. That's why I say that whenever even I go, wherever I travel, especially to my village, I would insist that everybody, every child should be put in a school. And that's why I'm so happy that Tamil Nadu leads the other states in the educational index, because we have had a history of 50 years of a progressive movement, 50 years of a rational movement, which insisted on the rights of education to each and every child on the basis of social justice.
Wonderful, ma'am. This question I wrote from, my need to understand how to work through things. I think many women here would understand my question to you today. Ma'am, you are, a parliamentarian, an educator, you're a poet, you're an author, you're a mother, you're a grandmother. Now, we know that we have to prioritize. Every day is not 100% everywhere. But there is something that fuels you beyond that priority, beyond passion, right? In the morning you wake up, you think that you have to be here doing certain things, and then your child falls sick. And then, you have to be somewhere, and then something else happens. So you are constantly juggling. And then I want to know about your extremely tired days. I want to know what fuels you during those days now.
I sit and cry sometimes.
I think this deserves a round of applause. Somebody coming and telling us that this,
that is the catharsis, I would say. I'm not ashamed of, crying in a room, because 10 minutes of crying, because you keep bottling up your, as you said, you have to go to a meeting by 10 o'clock, and you have an emergency, medical emergency at home. You have to drop your grandkids, and your granddaughter wouldn't have a bite unless otherwise you feed her. So all these things, so it keeps up bottling till 2 o'clock. And 4 o'clock you have another important meeting. So I just want a catharsis. So I just simply, when I can't take too much, I just sit and cry. That is a great catharsis for me. Sometimes, I do keep the pillows which have the innate aroma of my mother and the kerchief of my father. My father used to wear Charlie perfume. So Charlie perfume always reminds me of my father. I keep that kerchief always with me. And the pillow which is covered with an old sari of my mother. Because you have come a long way. Now if you want to have a comfortable shoulder, your daughters definitely come, but when they need you, you can't. So this is the thing that I would do. And then I freshen up, because that's a catharsis, I would say. Many a times, my friends who have been raised in cities, they would ask me, why do your folks in village talk so loudly? And why do you indulge in street fights? And why do you have this culture of crying so lovely in death houses, mourning? ஒப்பாரி ஏன் விற்கிறீங்க? சத்தமா இன்னும் தெருவுல சண்டை போடுறீங்க. அப்புறம் எங்க பார்த்தாலும் பெருசு பெருசா உங்க ஃபேஸஸை வச்சு பேனர்ஸ் வச்சுக்கிறீங்க. Why do you people, villagers, you have this habit of you go to a marriage hall or whatever it is? I could see 20 of you smiling broadly with the mobile phone, looking at their watches, their faces. What is this? They think that it is not a decent thing. But I will tell them, look, those are the faces, or those are the human beings who haven't had any opportunity of seeing their faces so far. No one gave them that, like opportunity or whatever it is. Now they have the chance to see their faces in a big blown up way. Their lifelong they had never had that opportunity. A wedding comes or a Tirula comes, so they are celebrating in their own way. So you have to really understand. And how many women have the opportunity or the luxury to vent out their anger against their mother-in-law, sister-in-law, or whatever it is. So street fights and those houses, mourning houses, are the only vent for them. I have, in fact, in one of my essays, I have registered it. I know Gomati Akka, a girl from my village, who comes for every Pongal festival, not on Thai Pongal, she will come for that Bogi festival. Bogi, you all know that, wherein you discard all the old things and the next day is a new beginning. So one Pongal I asked, and the Pongal day she would go to her husband's place, which is quite a nearby village. So I asked her, Akka, why didn't you stay for Pongal once? Why you always come for Bogi and then you leave on that Pongal day? For that she replied in Tamil. Probably I will translate later in that. Vaakapatta veetla ellathayuma erichira mudiyudu. Yeah. You can't just burn whatever you want in that house in which I got married. You don't have the liberty of even discarding those things which you want to discard in your husband's place. So for that she comes. This happened and I have registered it in one of my essays. And then when Kalaignar brought Tamaravarani water, we all had taps in our houses, which is such a great relief for women, like 40 years ago, we all village women, we used to go walk for longer miles to fetch waters. When Dr. Kalaignar installed taps, but one Akka was very unhappy. He said, what is this Akka? All of us are celebrating. This is what she told me. She said, திண்ணையில எங்க மாமியார் உட்கார்ந்துருக்கு, பின்னால எங்க நாத்தனார் உட்கார்ந்துருக்கு. That one word I cannot forget in Tamil. நான் எங்க போய் வாயாறுது, வாய் ஆறுதல், வாய் ஆறுது. வாய் is your mouth, ஆறுதல் means you have to vent out your feeling. அது அழகா நான் எங்க போய் வாயாறுது, where can I go? கொலாயடினா எனக்கு ஒரே ஒரு relief. Wherein I can meet. We don't have coffee shop, we don't have any joints. So I can just go and express, meet my friends and then have a chat or whatever. It is only in those joints only. Now you guys, you come and install taps inside. What is the big deal? I didn't mind actually walking for longer distance because it is like a catharsis for them, walking along with their friends without the watching eyes of whoever it is. So these are the minute psychological feelings, emotions of women with whom I grew up. So I can really understand in what way. So I'll always tell my friends, my urban friends, that don't ever, think that it is all shouting or because it's all a huge open space. So we can't just say softly, good morning, vanakkam, appadi solla mudiyadhu. That person will be in the field, plowing the field, just 1 mile away. So we can only shout, inga vaanga, appadina kooka mudiyum. So the way, that is how we greet each other also. We can't say inga vaanga, appadi solla mudiyadhu. So you don't just combine this decency with soft speaking or whatever it is. The etiquettes are different. But the way we grew up, it's entirely a cultural space, a way of living, which has its own way of expressions, which is grounded in the practical demands of the day. That's very, very important. Nobody treats dogs as pets, I would say. It's like a member in the family. If you just take the dog and take it for walking, they will make fun of me. நடக்கிறதுக்குன்னு கூட்டு வந்துட்டாக்கும் நாயும் because நடக்கிறது is a way of life for them. Dogs walk along with them, they walk along. It's just a way of life. They'll walk probably 10 times, like not like as morning walk, evening walk, or whatever it is. So it's like a family member. So they'll give food, whatever they cook to the dog. So this sort of bringing dogs as pets was something new to me when I shifted myself to the city only. But that is mostly grounded in their life itself. They are watchdogs, they go wherever they go, that will accompany them. So whichever food they consume, they'll also. So that is the way I grew up. That is my base, that's my roots. That has helped me in being very, very empathetic and understanding towards the problems especially faced by women.
Amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think, you have covered the spectrum, where we started with how you are so human and managing so many things to where you learn all this from. It's amazing. I think that was one of the last questions I had for you because we wanted to take something away from here, along with the many other things you have enlightened us with. We have one last segment. We have some pictures that are going to come here. I'm going to read out the names as well, so it's easier for you to follow. I want you to tell what comes to your mind first. A feeling, a word, or a sentence. It could be people or situation. So we will start with that. The first picture, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Honorable globe-trotting Prime Minister.
Nitin Gadkari. It's the next one.
A very approachable, amicable Union Minister whom we all respect.
It's amazing. Next picture. J. Jayalalitha, our late CM.
An artist I really admire, always. An artist, a woman artist par excellence, I always admire her as an artist.
You hear me? Yeah. The next picture, Muthamazharinyar Dr. Karunanidhi Iyer.
A phenomenal leader par excellence who has made Tamil Nadu in a very unique way, uniquely astounding way, visible in the Indian map. He was the one who made Tamil Nadu visible in the Indian map, I would say.
Good. Next, our Chief Minister, M.K. Stalin, sir.
A visionary leader who does what he says, I would say always speaks less, but who does in great volumes.
The next will be Udayanidhi Stalin, our Deputy Chief Minister.
I would say he is our hope for the next to lead the younger generation. The Dravidian, the lamp of the Dravidian ideology, he is the right person to carry that lamp, the Dravidian ideology forward.
The next picture, Mahakavi Subramanya Bharatiya, the pride of
Mahakavi itself, we are so proud that he is born in India. The iconic poet who would have had a Nobel, who would have become a Nobel laureate had he had a W.B. Yeats like Tagore. It was W.B. Yeats who edited and translated Tagore's work in English. Our Mahakavi is the iconic poet. That's why if someone says, "Are you a poet?" I say, "Mahakaviyum Kavingar, Nanum Kavingar." Only he is a poet. So he would have had become a Nobel laureate had he had W.B. Yeats like Tagore had.
The next picture. Your family, ma'am.
Oh my,
See your grandchildren as well there.
Yes. My happy go nest place. My happy nest, happy place, my go-to place. It's in a ullangaila ulahamna idda. My world, it is. My happy nest, it is. Yes.
The next picture is your rally.
Okay, see, look at my eyes. I want all of you to just see my eyes. Where am I looking? When I was campaigning, I made it a point to make eye contact with all of them, not like just blindly waving or whatever it is. This was when, like when I was just seeing a woman, like with glass bangles, open her door, window door, and then peeping out with her eyes. So this is a language of eyes between two women I would say. Yeah, I can never forget that moment.
Wow.
Any public rally for that moment, it's a collective consciousness. Like a movie, I would say that a collective consciousness or a language of love between two women.
The next one, I'm very personally curious to see what comes. This is a picture of a mother hugging her child when she's dropping her off at school. Ma'am, you're an educator, you are a mother, you are a grandmother now. So you can take a moment.
To go or not to go? That's the question, yes.
The next one. We've heard much about this place, the Parliament canteen, where there's a lot of fight inside the Parliament. In the canteen, apparently there's a lot of friendly chitter-chatter. Ma'am, can you...
Yeah, where palettes transcend the party colors.
Wow.
The spirit of camaraderie. Palettes transcend party colors.
Next one.
Mm-hmm.
Picture of a classroom.
Yeah, yes, it is. I would say it's a heaven on earth. I would say any classroom, that's how I describe it, because that's where I spent most of my years there. So it's just a heaven on earth, I would say.
Do you ever miss it, ma'am? Teaching?
Oh, yes, of course I do. I terribly miss my teaching time, yes. That good morning, ma'am, good morning, miss is like the one word which peps you up, which kickstarts you. I terribly miss my teaching days.
And the last image for this evening, women at the polling booth.
Women at a polling booth. Well, I remember Helena Troy's line here. Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships? Was this the hand that rocked the cradle and toppled the thrones?
Wow.
Probably.
That I think our session ends. Ma'am, what an honor for all of us for having you here. I think she deserves a huge round of applause.
Can we get a picture together?
Cake first.